as the season's been going on, I have been thinking a lot about things that have been super helpful and have not been super helpful. And so then I thought, I wonder if anybody else would be interested in this, because, you know, you don't want to spend your money on things that aren't super helpful. So right now, where I am, this is what I think is helpful if you're getting started and you're wanting to know what I should get, what I should spend my money on, what I should focus on, that kind of thing. One of the first things I didn't know the first year was about cool flowers. Lisa Mason Ziegler has a book on cool flowers. Get the book. Listen to her. She has tons of free resources out there. That's where I learned about cool flowers. Start those seeds in the fall, plant them, overwinter them. That is so helpful. I did it not the first year, but the second year, and then I've done it this year. Scabiosa, all the scabiosa that you see right here, I planted that in the fall, and I'm still getting blooms off of it. Look up your zone, see what you can plant, start it in the fall, overwinter it. When spring comes, you will be so happy. And while I'm on that, I learned how to soil block from the Gardener's Workshop. They have lots of free online stuff, and that made a huge difference for me in starting my seeds and having better germination, much better germination with soil blocking. And they recommended at some point using Vermont compost, and I think they sell it now too. They sell it in smaller bags, I believe. I get bigger bags from Gardener Supply, and if you buy 4 or 5, I think they give you a discount, like a couple dollars per bag, and then you get free shipping. That's where I get mine from. And then you do have to sift it to get out the bigger chunks, and I usually do that like in the wintertime when I have time, and then keep it in like a trash can or something, and then just use it. So just watch, there's tons of free resources on that, and you can just a little bit trial and error, but it really, the learning curve is really not that steep. You can figure it out. Super easy. Worth getting the little, I got the small soil blocker. That's the one I use the most. Start with that one, progress from there. You got it. The only one I do use a plug tray for, I have figured this out, and they recommend using soil blocks for zinnias. I don't have the best germination with starting zinnias in soil blocks. I do use a plug tray for zinnias and starting very early sunflowers. I can get sunflowers started early in the plug trays, and then I plant those out. So I got sunflowers for Mother's Day. After that, I just direct seed out in the field sunflowers and go with that, because much less labor to do that than always starting them in plug trays. Soil block, and then you've got the plug trays like I was talking about, and then also you can buy plugs. Now I do also buy plugs. The one plug I buy is Lisianthus. I tried starting Lisianthus, can't start Lisianthus, takes forever for those things to grow. And I tried, but I just cannot start Lisianthus. So it is worth it for me to buy plugs of Lisianthus. My customers love Lisianthus, and I sell a ton of it. So I do buy in plugs for Lisianthus. And also I've bought in plugs of heirloom mums. Now the mums I can propagate really well, and I'm in the process of propagating a bunch of mums, and I'm going to plant those out pretty soon. The mum plugs, which I only buy 4 from Clara Joyce Farms. My Lisianthus plugs I have bought from Farmer Bailey. All right, the other thing, netting. The Hort Nova netting, definitely need that, because we have been through some, well, in North Carolina, you get a lot of, I'm outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, and so we do get some tropical storms blowing through, hurricanes, and the Hort Nova netting has held up so many plants. And they've made it through some strong winds. Highly, highly recommend putting the netting up. It'll keep, I even use it on my sunflowers. Now I know that Gardener's Workshop, she doesn't, because she plants so many sunflowers and it's not worth her time to put the netting up. I have much fewer sunflowers, and mine are definitely higher priority because I need them. So I net everything, and we use rebar. So I put the Hortonova netting down on the row, and then I use those squares because they're 6-inch squares, and just plant one per square. That gives me a great grid, and I'm able to just put one start in each square, plant that down the row. There you go. And then go and put the rebar in at the ends and a couple in the middle, and then leave it there, raise it when we need it. Already done. Yes, it's a pain to harvest through. Yes, it's a pain to take down, but, and we do take it down, and we have reused it. I haven't bought any more. I forgot how much I bought, but I haven't bought any more since I bought the one roll, and I got it from Johnny's. Going on 3 years. But when you need it, and it's saved my plants, and so it's well worth the time, the trouble, and the cost. And then at first, of course, the garden was smaller, and we didn't have as many flowers, and we did not start out with using drip tape. Bob did kind of a DIY irrigation type thing. Worked for a little bit, but finally broke down, invested in the drip tape. Another game changer. I would just, now looking back, should have invested in the drip tape to begin with. And I wish that we had heard about pulse watering from the get-go. Use so much less water, but yet your plants are getting watered much better than before. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Bob did a video on pulse watering. Go back and watch that. He learned all about it from Jenny Love, from her podcast, Till Flowers podcast, Jenny Love, pulse watering. You need to watch that. That's a game changer. Okay, I've used game changer a million times, so I'm going to try not to use that anymore. I'm just trying to go through these. I'm trying not to be too long because I know I tend to get a little bit chatty chat, and then I lose people, and so trying to keep this short, concise, give y'all information, let you go. And then if you're doing cool flowers, you're going to want to hoop and cover those at some points. We do the taller hoops than just the little wire hoops, and then we do the frost cloth over that, and then put the sandbags down the side. And we've reused our frost cloth. We've reused all the hoops. We've reused everything. So it's an initial investment of your hoops and your frost cloth and your sandbags, and then you can just reuse those. We're on year 2, reusing all of that. Now, of course, the weather changes every year. Like one year we got the super cold polar blast, all the things. So again, that's another reason you need the frost cloth, because you just never know what you're going to get. This past year we had a lot of rain, so sometimes I left up the covers just because I was trying to keep some of my rows a little bit more dry. There's a lot of questions about mulching. Some people say don't use landscape fabric. Some people say I have to use landscape fabric. Some people swear by the Bio 360. So Bio 360 did not work for us. We don't have a tractor that makes the beds for us. There is an attachment that makes beds, and I think if you have that attachment, the Bio 360 would work really well. It just was really hard for us to plant through it, and it just didn't work for us. Either we weren't making the beds right, I'm not really sure, but it didn't work for us. We lay mulched leaves over the top. That's what we use. We mulch it with leaves, and then the leaves help the soil, the leaves suppress the weeds, and we keep going. Now, again, we're not huge flower farmers. This would not work on a huge production farm at all. We're small, works for us. I'm not saying it would work for everyone, just works for us. Went and collected leaves from different neighborhoods. You know, they put them out on the roadside. You just pick up bags, you bring them here, that kind of thing. We mulch the leaves. We have plenty of leaves now. Another thing that's really worked for us, and I don't know how many places have it, it's called Chip Drop. It's an app. You can get free wood chips. They just, we have 5 acres. It's easier for them to come in here and they drop it. We've got plenty of chip drops we use that to mulch in between all of our rows. We have a tractor, so that helps. And also we use the chip drop, so if we're going to expand, every time we've expanded the garden, we mulch it with the chips, wood chips, let that sit. Instead of tarping it, we mulch it, which also the mulch breaks down, helps with soil, kills all the weeds, kills all the grass, and that's how we expand the garden, using a chip drop. What flowers to plant? Well, I do wish that I had also started with perennials. I wish I had gotten, and everybody said this, everybody said it, but of course you're buying all the infrastructure. You're buying the drip tape, you're buying the conduit to make the hoops, and I don't know, just all that infrastructure stuff. And you're trying, and like, I'm not taking out a loan, so I'm just, buying those things. So anyway, I wish I had started with perennials from the get-go, because now we'd be able to cut off the perennial, the like peonies next year. And how easy are perennials? Plant them once, pay for them once, plant them once. They're pretty low maintenance. Let them go, cut off of them, you're good to go. There's that. If you have the money and you're all in, I would start at the get-go. Number one, first thing I would plant peonies. Get you some peonies and plant those. Baptisia, I would probably put in some of that, because that flowers early, usually in that gap when you need flowers Mother's Day. Dahlias, in some areas, dahlias are perennials where you can just leave them in the ground. Here, we can leave dahlias in the ground, and then they just keep coming back. I don't think I've ever shown y'all. All right, so this is the wrap that we do, and then on the side we staple a card. The card says thank you, and it has some directions on there. And guys, I had to amend these directions to put, do not put in the refrigerator, because now we've got zinnias and basil and some different things, and we did have someone that put them in the refrigerator to hold them. I just never even thought about that, and it wilted, and it was very sad, because it was for a graduation and I couldn't get them a new bouquet in time. So I hated that. So I've put do not refrigerate. We've got our business card and some flower food. So this is how they look. This is, and my white dill has just gotten to the point where I can cut it and put it in bouquets, and I have forgotten how much my customers love it. Obviously it looks like Queen Anne's lace. I tell them it's a false Queen Anne's lace. It is white dill. They love it. I am in North Carolina, and in the South, a lot of people love Queen Anne's lace, and I hear a lot of my customers saying how it reminds them of their grandmother. So they love this. And then in this bouquet, I have started to have a few zinnias. So you can see the zinnia here. Here are the scabiosa. And then, can you see that? Sunflower. So I didn't have a ton of sunflowers this week, so everybody got one sunflower in the bouquet. See the feverfew there. And then this, I have been loving this. See these little, it makes these, I don't know what you call them, lantern type things, once it flowers. And this is apples of Peru. And I've tested this out in my house. It does not wilt, and then it actually kind of keeps on growing, because you keep on having flower after flower after flower, so it keeps on flowering. So that's been great. I have lemon basil, cinnamon basil, some ageratum. So this was pretty much made up. Here's another little zinnia right here. So this smells good. And we have, and the scabiosa, you can pick it when it's really, really tight, but all of these still have a lot left to bloom out. So this whole bouquet Like the sunflower just has a petal up. I mean, like this is gonna last a super long time. So, I mean, I'm super happy with what's going on with the flowers. This one does have some yarrow in it, but see how tight this scabious is? I hope that you found something in this information helpful for you. I kept thinking about what I was going to do. I really feel like I know that, and I still do. Honestly, I still do. I still search YouTube, all the places, and for helpful advice. And so I just thought, is there any helpful advice I could put out there? I don't know if this was helpful for anyone. I hope it was. I was just racking my brain because I have been going over a few things, like what perennials we're going to purchase and what perennials we want to put out in the garden, because that is definitely the next step, perennials. And then trying to figure out bouquets as far as like making those quicker. So that's been on my mind, the perennials and the bouquets. And I'm feeling pretty good about how we're watering now. And we've got the netting down as far as being able to lower it and do all the things with the netting. So feeling good about that. I was also starting to think about what seeds I wanted to order for my cool flowers. That's another thing I forgot to say when I was talking about cool flowers. Make sure you order your seeds pretty early, because every time I go to order snapdragons in the past, I haven't been able to find some of the snapdragons I wanted because the seeds are all sold out. So order seeds early for cool flowers. So definitely, and that's another reason I wanted to talk about this, is definitely get yourself the book and start reading about cool flowers so you can get the seeds, so you can get all that started early, because you're going to want to start those seeds in the fall, but snapdragon seeds, for whatever reason, sell out really quick. As the seasons, I guess I should have changed my shirt. You know, when you're running around, you have a million things to do. Then I sat down and I'm like, okay, I really need to crank this video out. And I don't know, I didn't think about it till I sat down, looked at myself, and I thought, look, you can see your shirt in this video. I do make my own bread. Mill my own wheat to make my own bread. And luckily, those wheat berries come in big, tall 5-gallon buckets, which is perfect if you are a flower farmer and you're cutting flowers, because they are perfect flower harvesting buckets. So, here's a PSA. Start milling your own wheat, and you can get free buckets. They are not free because you have to pay for your wheat berries, but you can make your own flour, make your own bread. The bread is delicious and it has lots of health benefits, and I love it. And that is not where I thought I was going with this video when I turned this on.